everybody, it's Tracy from Downward Dog Rising. I'm going to give you a breathing exercise tonight to focus and make you feel calm and just to focus your energy inward, just to clear your mental thoughts. Okay, join me. We're going to sit, legs crossed. If you want, you could sit up on a cushion if that's more comfortable for your hip flexors or your low back to give support. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. Intention, focus inward, just to be present in this moment. We're going to do a breathing exercise. Place hands on knees. We're going to count up to 10 and back down again. So I'm going to have you take an inhale through your nose. Feel ribs expand. And then exhale through your mouth. When you inhale, you want your ribs to move outward, three-dimensional breathing. We want our diaphragm, our true respiratory muscle, to do its optimal function. The air goes into the lower lobes of the lungs. We get lateral rib cage expansion. And they're going to blow through our mouth. One. Let sternum breastbone melt with your exhalation. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. So notice how you feel right now. Do you feel more calm, more centered, more grounded? We're going to take one arm right down by side, take the other arm straight up, sink straight down into your bottom of your sits bones, into the bottom of your pelvis. Take a moment, sink down, feel both sides of your ribs elongate apart, ribs out of hips, rise up. Take one hand over by your side. Make sure you keep pelvis grounded into the mat. Stay here. Breathing in, open up the whole sideline, lengthen spine. Breathing in through nose. And exhale through mouth. 2 more. Open up the space between the rib cage and your hip bones. Feel the hip sink deeper into your mat. One more deep inhale. Slowly you're going to lift up. Bring both arms up. Sink into the bottom of your pelvis. Feel the sides of your ribs expand. The ribs lengthen away from hip bones. Bring the other arm down. Feel separation here between rib and hip bone. Ooh, I'm getting a cramp. Oh. Lengthen up. Expansion. Sides ribs expand. Keep that sits bone. Keep half the pelvis. Both halves essentially stay down in that. Feel this whole side lengthen. Sometimes one side definitely is tighter than the other. We want our serratus muscle in here. We want to use that to be able to stabilize our blades and our back when we do our yoga or our Pilates workouts. Breathe in, expansion into your rib cage. Try to get the hip bones sinking deeper down under you. Those bones that you sit on, ischial tuberosities. One more deep inhale. And gently we're going to float back up again. Half butterfly. Keep left knee in. Whatever leg is closest to you. Extend the other leg out by your side. Again, you're rooting down into the bottom of your pelvis. Maybe sole of foot is going to come touch inner thigh towards it. We're going to stretch up into the air. Slowly, we're going to make our way forward onto our forearms. Grounding into your pelvis through each half equally. Keep sinking down into the bottom of your pelvis. Soften into it. you want to go deeper, you can. You even make two fists. Rest your forehead on your two fists. Take one more deep inhale. Slowly we're going to press up. And from here, I'm going to have you reach upwards through spine, rotate ribs, bring sternum over center of thigh, stretching upwards. We're going to gently start to stretch over this leg. You might have to make a slight adjustment. If you feel really tight, you can release a little bit. That was bugging my hip. I just had to adjust my leg a little. Lengthen up first, and then you hinge from the hips forward. So stay here and breathe. We want to get this low part of the back to really elongate, to stretch apart. Flex foot. Keep lengthening spine in opposition. One more deep inhale. Slowly make your way up. Bring your other leg in. Couple little butterflies. Lifting knees up and down. One more deep inhale. And gently release. So we're going to switch. Keep the right leg bent in. Slowly start to extend the left leg out. Going to bring bottom of foot towards groin, towards inner thigh. Half butterfly. Sink down into each of your sits bones. Rise up. Now, we're going to hip hinge. You might flex foot. And we're going to reach out forward. Maybe flex this foot to open that hip a little more. Flex the other foot. Rest on forearms. If your pelvis lifts up, try to find the point where it lifts up. Sink into it. Rise up again to top ahead. And keep weighted through the bottom of the pelvis before you pull your head forward and your spine forward. Maybe come to your forearms if that's okay. Follow your breath, breathing in. If you want to go a little deeper, it's within your practice. You can always make a fist with each hand and gently rest your forehead on your fists. Stay here and breathe. One more deep inhale here. Slowly we're going to make our way back up. Lengthen up through top of head. Rotate towards this straightened out leg. You might have to adjust pelvis just a little bit. Lengthen upwards. Slowly we're going to hip hinge, reaching out over our leg. We want to get our lumbodorsal fascia across that low back to open up. Pull, lengthen your sternum forward and through as you hip hinge, protecting your spine. Soften into the breath. Two more deep inhales here. And one more time, deep inhale. Slowly make your way back up. Bring both knees in. Little windshield wiper side to side. Roll across sides of hips. And then from here, I'm just going to have you do a little back bend. Open, heart to sky. And gently release. One more time, open heart to sky. And gently release. Good. Okay, this next one that I want you to do, we're going to lie on our back. And if you have a yoga block, actually, if you have a yoga block, grab it. This is high. This is intermediate. And this is low. You choose. It's going to go right under your tailbone, your sacrum. So here's low. Here's halfway, intermediate. And here's tall, high. You choose how high up you want your pelvis to go. So we're going to do a little bridge. Lie down on your mat. Feet are going to be hip width apart. Careful that your heels don't come all the way in and touch your glutes. That's too much on the knee. Walk your heels out a little. And then just feel how your spine lengthens into the mat. Take your block either high, intermediate, or low. I'm going to do intermediate, and I'm just going to slide the block right under my sacrum. And I'm keeping the weight through my middle back, my shoulders, shoulder blades, and I'm making sure that I don't arch this low part of my back. I'm like streamlining, I'm elongating my tailbone away from my breastbone. And when you really streamline your lumbar spine, you really lengthen your low back, all of a sudden you're going to feel freedom in the front of your hip flexors. And then you're going to feel your abdominals tone and activate and really drop like a dome into your spine. So I want you to feel that. And then careful that your knees avoid splaying outward. Think shoulder joint, hip joint, middle of knees over central part of ankles. We're aligned. And I want you to stay here and breathe. Relax those shoulders, open them up. And really streamline that low back long, and feel how those hips just really elongate your psoas all the way down the front through the quad. We have 4 quad muscles. Only one of them works as a hip flexor besides the psoas, the true hip flexor, and that's the quadriceps femoris. We want our true hip flexor to flex our hip. And then sometimes, if there's a faulty movement pattern, sometimes our quadriceps femoris will do it. And then that's kind of too much. So we want our psoas to do it. Stay here and breathe. Keep elongating your tailbone away from your breastbone. Let the front of those hips really stretch and elongate. Pull those abdominals, like dome them 3-dimensionally through the body into the front of your spine. You'll really feel them toning, working. Soften through your sternum, your breastbone. Really get those ribs to inflate, expand, and then soften through your breastbone. Let it melt so your middle back elongates as well. 2 more deep inhales here. And one more time, breathing in. Now gently press into all 4 corners of your feet. Engage your glutes. Keep lengthening low back away from you. Tailbone lengthens away from breastbone. Float arms over you. Make sure you don't put pressure in neck. Feel the ribs pull and lengthen down together in front. Now we're going to set one vertebra down at a time. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. That was a pop in my vertebra. Breathe in. Exhale. Arms can rise up as blades pull down deeper in your back. All the way down to the mat. Good job. Reach under knees, hug in. Maybe peel head, neck, shoulders up. Breathe into back, mid-back between your two shoulder blades. One more time. So if you feel like you haven't been breathing deep enough lately and your back got all tight because of it, this class is for you. And gently release. We're going to do banana stretch next. Banana stretch can be done with both legs straight, reaching long. Hip points stay straight to sky. If it's okay on your low back, see your two hip points stay straight. Take right ankle, cross right ankle over left ankle. Take arms, start to reach arms overhead. Left hand grabs right wrist. You're going to lengthen arms overhead, relax shoulders away from ears. Gently start to pull that right wrist over to the left. And really we're expanding that whole side of our ribs, that whole side. If your shoulders tense up, feel free to fold arms behind head like that. Keep pulling on that right arm, right wrist with left hand. And stay here and breathe into those ribs, expand them. Feel breastbone release down, melting into chest. Two more. We just might stay here a little longer. Get that whole right side to stretch and lengthen. Pulling apart. One more time. Return center. Uncross feet. Lengthen arms, lengthen legs apart. Breathing in. Scoop abdominals into low back. Exhale. One more time. Breathing in. Scoop abdominals into low back. Exhale. Take left ankle, cross over right ankle. Keep hip points facing straight above you. Right hand reaches overhead and grabs your left wrist. Lengthen. You're going to gently start to pull that left wrist over to the right side. Feel the whole left side lengthen. If this tenses your shoulders, fold elbows, fold arms behind head. Stay here and breathe. Breathing in. Exhale. Feel the whole left side elongate apart. Lengthen apart. Feel space open up between bottom of rib cage and hip bone, between our floating ribs. The distal cartilage isn't attached like in the higher up ribs. Breathing in and breathing out. One more deep inhale here. Gently release. Uncross your ankles. Extend arms overhead. Lengthen fingers away from toes. And just allow your low back to drop and sink into mat. half happy baby, Ardha Nandabalasana. Fold left leg in, reach to the lateral pinky toe side. Knee in alignment with ankle, shin is parallel. Draw your knee down towards your mat, down towards the floor. Again, you're going to feel this hip flexor elongate as we sink deeper into the other hip. Think of the back of the pelvis widening into the mat underneath you. Hip points pull and narrow together in front as the back of the pelvis widens. One more deep inhale. And gently release your leg. Extend. You're going to start to bend in the right leg. Reach to the lateral pinky toe side. Again, knee is parallel with that ankle. Start to bring your knee outward towards floor, towards your mat. You're going to feel the front of this other hip elongate. Back sinks into mat. I'm trying to create some length and space. The pelvis is known as the kingpin in the body, and it connects upper body with lower body. A lot happens there. Releasing our hips will also help your back release. Allow the back of the pelvis to widen into the mat. One more deep inhale. So now you're going to lift your opposite leg up to join. Hands reach to lateral, pinky toe sides of feet. You're going to gently let those knees drop. I want you to drop into the back of your pelvis. If it's okay on your back, you can rock side to side a little bit, gently. Breathing into the stretch. Or you can just stay stable and centered. Draw those knees inward. Think of the two hip points in front, pulling closer together in the front. And then the back of the pelvis just widens into the mat underneath you. This is a great way to open the hips. Breathing in to sides and back of ribs, three-dimensional breath. Feel spine lengthen. One more deep inhale. And gently release. Good job. Extend both legs into the air. Do some ankle rotations. Release those ankles. Other direction. Bend your knees. Cross your right ankle over the left knee. And then what I want you to do here, we're going to slowly shift a little bit to the side. If the right knee is bent, right ankle on left knee, that's the side I'm going to have you twist forwards. And then you're just going to allow this other hip to lengthen. See if it's okay to cactus your arms on the mat. And again, I want to get into the area between the ribs, floating ribs, soft tissue, where the hip bone begins, this whole area here. Allow gravity to gently press on this hip. And breathe. Sometimes we get really tight in our sides, and it's hard to breathe into the sides there. Expansion. Cactus your arms by your sides and just keep breathing into those ribs. If one of your hip hikes, the quadratus lumborum muscle in your back can get really tight on one side, so you might actually feel a release in there. Hip flexor and quadratus lumborum in your back when you do this one. Collarbones wide across shoulders, chest. Feel space open up mid-back, thoracic spine between your shoulder blades. And just breathe. Sometimes we don't even realize how tight we are until we get into a position like this and just try to breathe into it. And it makes you aware. One more deep inhale. Slowly, we're going to make our way back center. Hug both knees in. Maybe do a little hip opener. Both knees circle apart and then circle together. 4. Spine is long. Allow your femur bones to sink deeper back into the acetabulum, into your hip sockets. Sinking. Now we're going to reverse. 5, 4, 3. As those femur bones go deeper down into the hips, they feel safe and secure. Other muscles can release. 2 more. Last one, breathing in, exhale. Return feet to mat. Next, take your left, maybe adjust hips a little bit by going to the right a little. Making more room on the other side of my body. Crossing my left ankle over my right knee. I'm not on the kneecap itself. I'm a little higher so I don't put direct pressure on that knee joint. Then I'm going to cactus my arms to the sides. And I'm going to start to twist, allowing my knee to go towards the floor. My sides are super tight, so I'm doing this one tonight to just kind of open them deeper. Go to where you can without force. And I'm trying to keep the edge of my scapula, my shoulder blades still on the mat as I open up in between those 2 blades. And just breathe into those ribs. And you may start to feel a stretch in the front of this hip as you twist to the side. So shoulders are down into mat. And just breathe into those ribs. Sometimes you might not realize how tight it gets in there. Like I am right now. It's really tight in there. Try to really expand, get this side to open up and lengthen, and you might feel a release back in here even. Cactus the arms. You'll feel little releases as space opens up in there between the rib and the hip. Time and gravity are our friend in this pose. Time and gravity are our friend here, pulling us apart. Using the joint angles to get a deeper stretch without any force. Use your breath. Really breathe into those ribs. And one more deep inhale. Slowly return center. Take arms down by your sides. Scoop your abdominal wall into the spine like you're doming the abdominal walls three-dimensionally into your back, supporting your spine, lengthening it. I'm just going to have you bridge pelvis into air, lengthen tailbone away. We're doing it without the block this time. Ribs out of hips, pull apart, wide across collarbones. Stay here and breathe, shoulders away from ears. Feel the tone in your glutes working. Backs of thighs lengthening. Hips to sky. Keep open through those hips. And one more deep inhale here. Exhale, bring hips straight to mat. Same moment. Straight down. All right. We're going to flip over now. I want you to extend legs long. I'm going to look at the time. Okay. We're going to flip over onto our abdominals. Now from here, my ankle had to crack. What I want you to do here, take your forearms. I might change directions. I face you. I'm going to change directions. So your shoulders are going to be right over your elbows. Your hip bones press into mat. Your legs are stretched out long. Careful that you don't hunch, crunch, because that tightens everything up. So shoulders are down and back. You're going to pull your breastbone, your sternum forward and through. And then rather, this shortens the neck. Notice how the back of my neck shortens when I do that. To elongate the neck, you're going to start to drop your chin forward. And then that's creating length at the base of my skull where the occiput is, because I'm not putting pressure or tension in there. Just want you to stay here. And I can even feel my abdominal tone happen naturally right here where my abdominal wall activates. And it's like I'm getting put on a stretch, but my muscles are naturally activating, giving support to the spine without me like having to clench or do anything. So we just want to align our angles, our joint angles, for maximal efficiency. It's like you're resting your body weight equally across your shoulder girdle and your back, down through the shoulders, through the arms, equal weight. There's not a whole lot of weight through my pelvis because I have it going across my mid-upper back down into my arms as well. I'll put the music in later in my credits or whatever to give artists their due. And I just have my computer playing all the music that's in there, so anything could come on, really. You'll feel those abdominals toning and your back opening. We're going to go into a deeper shoulder stretch and neck stretch from here. I just wanted to create some space in your spine. So we're going to do a, I almost said 45 degrees, but I meant a 90-degree angle. We're going to take 90-degree angle. One arm goes by our side. Our hips press down into that. You're going to take the left palm directly under your left shoulder, and you're going to feel openness across that right collarbone. You're going to start to push into the mat. You can lift up your foot and your leg and use your body weight to get a deeper stretch into your bottom shoulder, into the area under your armpit, those upper ribs. The area we were just stretching as we were breathing into our lateral ribs. So again, we're getting our breath to go three-dimensionally, stretching into little pockets of tightness. Expand those ribs. We're using our breath to get the tension out of our muscles. You might even feel this in your psoas, in your ribs, in your hip. Breathing in and breathing out. You're going to feel your pectoral muscles in the front of your shoulders and chest too. Stretching. Pectoralis minor, that interior deltoid, your shoulder. You might even be getting a deeper stretch into that quadratus lumborum in your back. Let's do one more deep inhale here. And slowly we're going to turn back to the mat. Extend both legs out. Rest your forehead on the back of your hands. Come into a rest position. Allow the back of the pelvis to widen. And just gently roll head side to side like you're saying no, right across your forehead, third eye. Sides, neck, stretch. We're going to repeat this now, other side. Form a 90-degree angle with that left arm. Ooh, that side's tight. 90-degree angle, left arm. I'm going to move a little. Okay, you're going to take the right palm directly under your right shoulder. And what we're going to start to do, we're going to go down into the mat. We're going to stretch side of neck and our shoulder. It's under us. Lift up this leg and slowly start to roll over. And stay here and breathe. My foot is hitting something. I just slide. Okay, there we go. Breathing in. And it could feel different between the two sides. Breathing in. Breathe into those upper ribs. We're trying to unravel the tension out of our muscles using our breath and our alignment. Just doing what feels natural tonight, leading from one thing into the next to go deeper into the stretching. Feel side of neck stretch, that bottom shoulder, pectoral, hip, low back. You might even feel this part of the low back and that psoas in there, going all the way through there. One more deep inhale here. And slowly we're going to turn. Gently come back into that rest position for a second. Maybe wiggle hips side to side this time. Breathing in, breathing out. All right. So we did Sphinx. This was Sphinx right here, where I had you tilt your chin down a baby bit to create that elongation in your neck vertebra. So from here, take your arms and you're just going to extend them out a little bit in front of you. Elbows point towards mat. Sink down into the bottom of your pelvis and feel how the front of your ribs connect together. As that low back elongates apart, the front of your ribs draw towards each other. Top of head lengthens away from your tailbone. Soften. Just feel aligned. Like you don't have to work too hard to stay here. Feel the doming of the abdominal wall giving support to your spine. Creating space in our back vertebra. With strong backs and strong cores, ideally. Flexible hips. Let's do one more deep inhale here. And slowly come down. Awesome. All right, take your hands under your shoulders. We're going to slowly press up to hands and knees. Push straight up. Now, go back into a little balasana, rest pose. You could have your feet flat, and just know that if you do feet flat, it puts more pressure down into your knees. So if you really don't want more pressure in your knees, you could do it like I do with my toes curled under, just to release a little tension off the knees. Work on the crease in your hip. Head lengthens away from tailbone. Now just sit back, hips over heels. I want you to pull your sternum, your breastbone forward and through. Then I want you to aim those two sits bones straight back behind you into the mat. If sometimes your pelvis goes off, more one hip heightens higher than the other, you get tight in there. So aim those sits bones both down away from you, down into the mat. Keep elongating your quadratus lumborum muscle on each side of your spine. Even feel the stretch under the armpits as you pull your sternum, your breastbone forward and through the two arms. Now release forehead into mat. Just feel that pull, that elongation in opposition. Feel that length. If this hurts your knees, take a rolled up blanket and kneel on it. Or you can roll up a blanket and stick it right under your hips, between hips and heels, to give you a little cushion under there. You'll feel your body adjust as it creates length. One more deep inhale. Slowly press up to hands and knees. I want you to feel your core tighten into your back. Here's extension. Here's flexion. Cow. Cat. Chin away from you. Chin down, tailbone down. 3 more. Expand into those ribs. Exhale, 1 more. Pull apart. And then exhale. Curl toes under. Find neutral spine. Front ribs meet back ribs. Lengthen one leg straight out. Now think front ribs meet back ribs. Careful not to let pelvis drop. And just hang out here in a plank. Keep everything aligned. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. Palms press the floor away. Front ribs draw together. Tailbone long. See if you could just hang out here for a little bit. Feel like the abdominals are doming up into your back. Head lengthens away from your tailbone. Feel energy go down the legs. Feel glutes engage, backs of thighs lengthen, hips open in front. Energy travel into the balls of your feet. You could just hang out here. Spine is long. Let all the muscles efficiently do their work, working synergistically together. So there's not too much weight on any one area of your body. And you can just hang. Breathing in and breathing out. Maximal efficiency. Let's do 2 more inhales. And 1 more time, breathe in, breathe in. And then gently bring knees down. 1 more time, just sit back over hips and heels. And let those sits bones reach away from you. 1 more deep inhale. And slowly we're going to make our way to a seated position. This was a mellow workout, so I'm not going to end in a shavasana because we've been pretty mellow and attentive to our breath the whole time. So with that being said, we could lay on the mat and just go into melting into it, but instead I'd rather us end the same way we started and just take note of how do you feel now in your body? How do your ribs feel? How's your breathing feel? We started off with the breath. The breath is crucial. And a lot of times we don't pay attention to our breath. It is crucial for our life to sustain itself. Just take note how your body feels right now. You may notice something. It's a lot easier to breathe. All right, that concludes our practice. Deep inhale. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you feel calm, less stressed out, more centered, and just grounded. And that was the intent for tonight's workout. Not a major hard workout, but just something to revitalize you. All right, thank Thanks, everybody. If you like my content, please help me grow my channel by hitting like or subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Peace. Take care.